right now in the state of Indiana and probably in the state of Illinois. We have non-union companies and we have union companies. And the union companies allow their workers to negotiate a contract, and the contract is for the wage and benefits and so on. And they pay a livable wage. Nothing extreme in my opinion, but those workers make enough money to buy cars, nice houses, send their kids to college, and so on. And the non-union companies do the same thing. They take care of their workers because they don't want their workers to join a union. So the wages they pay compare to the wages of the union company. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now what Right to Work will do, it will take this company that has all the workers must belong to the union and pay union dues and say, okay, non-union workers can work there and not have to join the union or pay union dues. Now this will destroy the unions. And we have to look at why this happened. It happened because those companies want to come to Indiana and pay a very low wage. And they can't do that if the unions are in control. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the states, and there are 22 of them, I believe, that have that are right to work. If you take the time that they were operating before they went to right to work and compare the average wage of the workers after they went to right to work, after the right to work law was passed, those workers lost $5,500 a year in salary. Now, there are a lot of statistics out there, and you have to be careful when they're thrown at you. But one of them I've heard is that that's not true because wages have only dropped 3%. Well, what they're doing, they're using a per capita basis instead of average worker wages. So for that reason, we're opposed to the right to work.
So who proposed these bills? Was that the governor or was it the Republican?
It's okay. You want the straight scoop? Okay. I'll give you a straight scoop. It was the Republican House that proposed the right to work. And the reason they did that is because they have a relationship with the companies that want to come in here and locate in Indiana and pay the low wage. And it's been suggested that they may have received some money from those folks during the last election. And so they've kind of bought into that. Now, Governor Daniels does not like right to work, and he said that from day one. We didn't know if he was telling us the truth or not. But his point is that he has too many other reform measures on the plate, and he doesn't want to deal with right to work because it's too divisive.
On the plate, do you mean there are other bills that he's
Well,
doing?
he's got education reform, mm-hmm. and most of these things are coming from the governor. Education reform, okay. He's got political reform. He would like to do away with township government. And he's got a number of reform measures out there, and he didn't want to deal with right to work at this particular point in time because he thought it would draw attention away from these other issues that he considers to be important. And so he has told the Indiana House that he does not support that. And interestingly enough, the Senate, Senator Long, who's the Senate Pro Tem, has said that if this bill gets over to him, now we didn't know this until after we walked out, but if it gets over to him, that he will put it in a study committee. And when you put a bill in a study committee, you might as well say it's dead.
Oh, really?
So that's where we are. The only people pushing this right now is the Indiana House. Mm-hmm. And Brian Bosma. Yeah.
But which bills might get passed?
None.
but which have more support? Let's put it that way.
We don't really like any of the
mm-hmm.
of the labor bills. Mm-hmm. They take away the right of individuals to bargain collectively, and we think that's the reason we have a strong middle class is because we've got people out there that work hard to create a living wage for folks. Mm-hmm. We don't like any of those. In terms of education, there are some that we can probably live with, and hope that in the next election things will be different and we can change them.
Like which ones?
I think the charter school bill is something that we can deal with later. I think it's going to be very difficult for the charter school bill to be implemented to the point where it would really hurt schools in the next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. I think that the voucher would be immediate, because we have a lot of private schools, and private schools can start up very quickly, especially if you start sending those schools to the parochial schools, which it allows them to do that. We think that's unconstitutional, and that probably that would go to the court if when they implement it. And the virtual charter schools are just going to grow tremendously, because you don't have to buy a building. All you have to have is some software, and you can go up online, and students can stay at home, and so we think that's a very very dangerous bill. But with the education bills, we have, I think, the opportunity to amend those bills. They're all coming down except the charter school bill. It's already passed, but the other bills are coming down, so we'll have a chance, hopefully, to amend those bills, and especially they have to go through the Senate, and then perhaps maybe a conference committee at the end. So I think that the thing that we're concerned about the most right now would be the bills that affect working men and women.